is a pointless at this point.
Uh, I see my shirt. Attempting to care. Loading, please wait. I feel like it's appropriate given the craziness that keeps happening behind me. Okay. So you want to do your whole intro thing and we're probably going to get interrupted again.
It's. I guess it's fine. I suppose it's fine because. Good evening and welcome to Nerd Rage, episode 171.
Is it
It's.
171?
I think it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 171. It was going to be 171 when I was in Indianapolis, but that didn't happen. Um,
I tried. I really tried.
I'm not blaming you. Things went completely off the rails in Indiana, so that's a topic for toward the end of the show, though. Well, towards the end of the show. So we're just gonna yeah. It's been a month basically. Yes, I'm segueing out of sentences without actually finishing them. Leave me alone. Um, but yes, it's been a month because it's my computer died basically. My computer had a death. It was kind of sort of partially my fault because basically one part started dying, then I broke another part trying to troubleshoot the other part because I'm stupid, and then it just ended up being a whole rigmarole where I just ended up upgrading my entire computer without even meaning to. So, yeah, I've got a better computer, but at the worst possible time because I'm moving in a month. But we're gonna stop laughing nervously now. Hi, Shanna. It's been a while. We really haven't spoken much late. We haven't really
Hi.
spoken much lately.
No, we haven't.
Throw
And
things.
just letting you know.
Remember, it's always viable to belly crawl.
Yeah, we haven't spoken in a while, except for like the past half hour that's been complete and utter chaos.
Yeah, definitely, 100% chaos.
And you spoke to like everyone in my family during that time.
Yes, I have. It's there's way too many families in my life now. It's just it's a little it's a little yeah. Okay, so it's kind of funny because we basically have a whole month of, well, not a whole month necessarily, but we have a lot of stuff to cover that covers the span of a month, and it's just I guess we might as well start with the political thing because that's technically one of the premises of this show. Premises, yes, it's a word. Shut up.
I didn't say anything.
That wasn't for your benefit. That was for the audience.
Hmm. Which isn't live this time because we still can't do a live show.
Yes. Strictly speaking, it's probably just because we both kind of live in the boonies. So, well, I don't as much as you do, but suffice to say, our internet isn't all that great. We're gonna try. I'm not sure if we're gonna try to test it sometime this week, this coming week. Not around actual showtime, but if anyone is interested in checking that out for us, we'd be appreciative to see if we actually have if I have a stable enough internet connection to actually do a live show. The odds of that I feel like are kind of low because I've already tried uploading things from here just to my Google Drive, and it went very slowly. So, given that that was less rigorous than actually doing a live stream, I'm just gonna say that things are not hopeful. All right. Anyway, the politics. Is there anything that's caught your eye over the course of the past month?
Over the course of the past month, just, lots and lots of outrage over everything all the time. And despite the fact that people are outraged and obsessively posting about it, they haven't managed to change anyone's mind. It's
What?
almost as if outraged, obsessive posting doesn't do any good.
What are you saying that hyperbolic rants that call people evil and wanting to kill people with pre-existing conditions is the last thing you would need in order to convince people that your
Yeah.
ideas are good?
It's almost like that doesn't actually convince anyone,
Wow.
you know? Crazy, 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 crazy thought there. But maybe, just maybe, calling people murderers if they don't agree with you, or calling them Nazis if they don't agree with you, or calling them idiots if they don't agree with you, is not the best way to convince them that your ideas are better.
Wow. I never thought that before. How convincing is that? Do I sound convincing? Do I sound like I actually believe the
Yeah.
words I'm saying?
It was more convincing than most of the stuff that I've seen online lately. So,
Uh, I don't know.
as sad as that may be.
It's so weird because it's like my life is split into like two different dichotomies. On the one hand, hey, things are actually changing my life. Things might actually get better. And on the other hand, I'm just looking at the political realm. I'm just like, wow, this country's going up in a pile of flames is not really the correct word there.
I wondered what
I
sort
did.
of
I didn't.
analogy you were
Yeah,
going
I
for there.
didn't. I don't know where I was going for with that. Like, I don't know what
Yeah.
word I was trying to come up with, but it wasn't pile.
In a pile of flames.
Well, yeah, you just grab a whole shovel of flames and you just,
Yeah.
you throw them onto those anti-fascist protesters. I mean, what? I don't know. I gotta be honest. I am very, very close to totally fed up with this whole uh, anti-fascist nonsense. It's like
Oh
because it's
yeah.
because it's just so because it's just so absolutely ridiculous. This whole idea that the
You're
United
you're
States
gonna
of
fight fascism by becoming fascist? Yes. It is pretty ridiculous.
well, I wasn't even gonna go that far because sometimes I honestly think that's actually kind of unhelpful too. But not that I would say I'm going to particularly say anything better here. But it's just that I think this whole idea is nonsensical because it's this whole idea because this whole belief that the United States of America is undergoing some sort of fascist apocalypse is absolutely ridiculous. You know,
Right.
there's literally no evidence of that. It's like just because Donald Trump and the Republicans are doing things that you do not like does not mean that they therefore are
Right.
fascists. And I
Or
find
just because Mike Pence has very conservative Christian beliefs doesn't mean that he's going to round up all the gays and put them in camps. You know, this isn't Chechnya.
yeah, high high historical references I barely get because I was just a kid. Um, but anyway, it was really funny how many like incidents from the '90s I actually recognize. I actually recognize just because I remember seeing the news or hearing the news, but I actually don't really know that much about just because I was too young and I never actually bothered researching myself. Chechnya is one of them. Kosovo too. Anyway,
But I mean, just the fact of the matter is, these people. It's like you said. It's pure hyperbole. They're acting like the sky's falling. They're all Chicken Little, and we're all gonna die.
mm-hmm.
Um, when I mean, you could not be further from the truth. There is no widespread government push to like silence dissent. There
Mm-hmm.
is no there are no like Gestapo type groups that are rounding up the gays or the liberal arts students or
Oh Lord, I wish they
or
would allow around the liberal arts
you know
students.
and hipsters in Starbucks who are planning to go like get their Nazi scalps at the anti-FOD rally or something. I mean, it's just this isn't happening.
Mm-hmm.
this is purely in your imagination. This is delusion.
Yeah.
And yet they act like it is happening right now. But no, 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 no. No. Uh, we have trainee story time in San Francisco because they want children to be exposed to uh, these these different lifestyles so that they're more accepting and inclusive and blah blah blah. That wouldn't be happening if all of their hyperbolic sort of uh, insane anxiety-inducing ranting were true.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, that sort of thing wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, the ludicrous part about the way they treat, like, say, well, the way it seems like they think that, like, like Donald Trump's about to lock down the media or something is because he complains about it. Of course he
Right.
complains about it. They've been
We're
against
going
him
to
since day
outlaw
one.
journalism in this country, dang it.
It's
Yes,
like,
that's exactly what we're going to do.
it's like they've
Because
been.
it's not as if they are protesting hearing anyone say something that they don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely not there. Like, there have been riots, assaults,
Right?
fires, property damage.
Exactly. There's some serious projection going on, and also some probably widespread undiagnosed mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, this is like schizophrenic level delusion, and people are like completely convinced that Donald Trump single-handedly is going to stop funding enviro research, and the Earth is going to burn up
Mm-hmm.
because of warming, and it will happen in our lifetimes because it's that serious.
Yeah, it's already. I mean, it's already happened in our lifetimes. Don't you see all that water New York City's under? Oddly enough, there was flooding in New York City this weekend, but just this weekend, not because the sea levels rose. Uh,
you know, uh, yeah. Uh, the the Chicken Little over everything is really tiresome, and I think that people need to take a huge step back
mm-hmm.
and learn critical thought.
Now, if you want my
And
honest opinion, I think a whole lot of this has to do with sort of the special snowflake mollycoddling that so many, especially young people, have grown up with over the past 20 years.
yeah,
To the point where I don't again, like, it's not entirely their fault because they've been taught to think themselves as special, and so they act like they are special whenever they do anything, and it kind of compounds on itself. And that's what
hmm,
this is. It's a compounding on itself, where they think that everything that's important to them is the only thing that's important in the world, and that's why they're overreacting to everything, especially now.
yeah,
And we've just been seeing the gradual build up to this sort of absurdity over the course of the past 5 years or so. I
right,
wouldn't say like 8 years. I would say like the past 5 years in particular is where we've really seen this kind of build up. Where people think that, like, like, where more things are important, more things are assaults and so forth. This whole notion. I also
right,
think that the rise of the not even the rise, but like the sort of the out of control explosion of the LGBT lobby is part of this as well. This whole where they're trying to either redefine or define gender away entirely. They're trying to get rid of the notion. It feels like they're almost trying to get rid of the notion of biological sex, or that it's
right.
like that's in any
Well,
way important.
and I think those things are sort of related because you have an entire generation, possibly two generations, really, who have been brought up on, this. It it's almost like a self-esteem gospel,
Mm-hmm.
where you're special, and you're just special because, and everyone is special, and no one is more special than the other person, and you have to accept that everyone is special,
Mm-hmm.
and then so you never get to stand out based on merit. You never you feel like it's wrong if someone criticizes you based on, what you've done or what your ideas are. Um, because everyone is special. And if everyone is special, all ideas are equally valid
Mm-hmm.
and all of this kind of stuff. And everything is just same see.
Right.
Um, so then you get to a point where the only way that you can stand out is essentially to become something else,
Mm-hmm.
to completely change who you are. And so, boys become girls because that's more special than just being boys,
Mm-hmm.
and I just think it's all connected. I think that, like you said, generations have been mollycoddled to the point that they cannot handle anyone challenging them in any way.
Yeah.
And especially the younger generations that have been told if you go to college, you'll have a good job, um, you know, you'll you'll be making six figures and all this stuff. So they go to college, they get a
Mm-hmm.
useless degree, lots of debt, and then, there aren't that many jobs available, so they don't make six figures. And, while they're in college, of course, you have lots of leftist leaning professors who, again, are telling them you're going to be more enlightened than previous generations because they don't understand all of these things that we're teaching you. All of this stuff about gender studies and all of this stuff about, racism and environmental concerns and
Mm-hmm.
this and that. And so, you have people who um, are addicted really to that sort of ego boost,
Yeah.
who are being told that they're special because they're more enlightened about these issues than their parents and their grandparents are.
Mm-hmm.
And, then you have them out in the world where there are people who say, no, you're wrong about that. And suddenly it's like tantrum city
Yeah.
because how dare you say I'm wrong? I'm special and enlightened. You dang fascist.
I just think it's sad though because so much of that like because so much of this is like created like it's actually caused like a kind of an inverse effect where a lot of people who don't understand like the aspects of who you are that actually do make you special, the things that make you unique. We're already there. And now what they're doing is that they're inventing all these identities. They are attaching themselves emotionally to things they really shouldn't be attached emotionally to
Yes.
try and feel special in you because they're being told that these things are what make you special, not who you are intrinsically. You know,
Right.
not
Yeah.
what your intrinsic value is.
Yes.
Um,
You like your value as a human being, who is capable of things.
yeah,
Um, you know, the way that each person can impact the world around
hmm
them. And,
yeah. They don't teach you to take pride in that or anything, and it's really more sad than anything. I
I mean,
was
you can't teach that there's inherent value in human life because, they believe so strongly in abortion.
that is true.
So, on the one hand, everyone is special, but you're not special because, there's an inherent value in your life. You're special because of this, and this. And so, then they cling to those labels and they cling to that sort of, you know, like you said, that getting emotionally attached to issues that they really shouldn't be
Hmm
emotionally attached to, and like deeply emotionally attached.
Yeah, to the I mean to be fair, that part happens on the right too, but that's not the point. But yeah, because I mean, there's this one person I know. There's this one person I know through Tantalus, um, my free company on Final Fantasy 14 for the record. Of course, you walk away when I start talking about this. Anyway,
I'm trying to get some light in here. Sorry.
anyway, but she but she ascribes to this whole kind of new gender spectrum thing, and she talks about how she wants to be more masculine, but still kind of still kind of attach yourself to sort of like feminine appearances, like it's like clothing and so forth. And all I could think is, isn't that just a classic definition of a tomboy? Like, I'm looking at this tweet and I'm just like, you're just a tomboy. Why do you have to turn it into something unique? You're just
Right.
you're just a tomboy, and that's cool. Okay, so you're kind of boyish in your mannerisms and everything. Cool. Who cares? And she seems like a sweet enough person, more or less. For the record, she doesn't actually like feminine pronouns, but I don't give a damn. Um,
I
I mean,
mean, gee,
I mean,
how crazy is this world when there's a war on pronouns?
I mean, honestly, if someone doesn't, if someone has preferred pronouns that are not the usual, I'm just gonna avoid using gendered pronouns around them. That's just all it's gonna be for me, because I'm not gonna arse myself calling a she a he or an individual a they. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna avoid using pronouns. I'm gonna use their name when I can, or I'm just
Right.
gonna avoid using name, or I'm gonna avoid using direct references. Period. I can do that. I have enough English skills to avoid doing this, because it's like, on the one
Right.
hand, I don't agree with any of this crap. On the other hand, I don't want to be an asshole. Because you're not going to convince anyone by
That's
being an
really,
asshole either.
I mean, that's kind of how I am. I'm not gonna sit there and say she repeatedly just to get under their skin,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm not gonna play into anyone's delusions and call a girl he.
Hmm.
I mean,
But yeah. Anyway, but I'm just thinking, it's like you're not really you're not really special for the way you think you are. Just because you want to be viewed in this particular way. And that's something else that actually kind of gets me about, is that it's all this focus on masculinity and femininity and everything in between. It's the fact that we're explicitly thinking about it. Who
mhm.
does that? No one does that. Who thinks, oh, that person's a tomboy, that girl's a tomboy? No one really actually thinks that. You kind of just pick up on it based on context clues. But we're kind of entered a point in society where we explicitly talk about the exact way each individual person is, and it's not healthy. It's an unhealthy obsession.
It really is. I think, unhealthy obsession sums up current, our present society pretty well. There are so many people on both sides of the political spectrum and all areas in between, that have unhealthy obsessions.
Hmm. Speaking of unhealthy obsessions, Negan sure has an unhealthy obsession with Lucille.
What? What? We're gonna just like skip straight to that?
Well, we were.
That's where we are now? Hang
Yes.
on.
Yes, we're about to dive headfirst into post-apocalypse land in real life.
I think I need more light.
I don't know. You're about the same level of darkness I was before. And the difference is that your skin glows naturally, so you don't blend in with the shadows.
Because I'm special.
No, but seriously, do you have anything else to add before we actually get into the Walking Dead?
Oh my god. I guess not. I mean, let's just skip straight to my obsession. Well,
Because we got into the pretty long conversation there. Actually, I wasn't expecting it to last that long. Anyway, all
I need,
right.
I really do. I think I need light.
All right. Well, as you figure that out, so
Well, why don't you talk about the
yeah,
French light?
I'm gonna intro everything. So go find light quickly. You have about 20 seconds. Okay. Anyway, so so as we all know, the season finale of The Walking Dead aired the last time we had a Nerd Rage. The last episode of Nerd Rage was the same day that the season finale aired. Um, of course, the day after that, my computer broke. My computer stopped functioning, so we weren't actually able to have a discussion or a show about the finale of The Walking Dead. And in fact, I wasn't able to watch the finale of The Walking Dead until about 2 days ago. It's actually rather remarkable that I managed to avoid major spoilers. I mean, I had a sense of what went on, and frankly, I didn't really care too much about spoilers. A couple of memes kind of threw me, and the panel I saw with Kari Payton spoiled something else, but not something I was particularly spoiled Sasha's death, but I wasn't really surprised by that at all because we kind of saw it coming. But outside of that, I didn't really get anything spoiled. So I managed to enjoy the journey after all. The journey that was the season finale of The Walking Dead. Okay, that was not what you needed. Oh my gosh, you're completely washed out. You were completely washed out.
Wow.
That reminded me of one episode of Frasier where Marty had, oh gosh, you're doing it again. Where Marty had the camera and the flash was so bright that it completely washed out Lilith's skin. And that's exactly what happened to her.
Hashtag white people problems.
Oh my gosh. It was so bright you were completely washed out. I love it. I don't even think you're that pale, but that's how bright that was. Like, I mean, you're kind of pale, but you're not that pale. You're not pasty pale.
Okay.
So, what did you... I don't know why I'm looking in that direction, because I have Skype here and my camera on the same monitor this time, because my setup is slightly different now. I should take a picture of that, in fact. What did you think of the Walking Dead season finale a month ago?
Okay, well, it's fresher in your memory, so remind me how it started.
How it started? What do you mean, like the actual literal beginning?
Yeah.
That was, well, the cold open was Sasha inside the coffin, clearly dying while listening to
Going
music.
through the playlist.
What?
Yeah, I remember that. And I remember,
And then the first half of the episode was basically kind of bouncing back and forth between her and what she was kind of, was going through her head as she was dying, and showing the Saviors and Alexandria's alliance preparing for the Saviors. So that's kind of what that was, and then the second half hour was kind of everything in real time after that.
Okay, so you had I realized that they were doing the whole like emotional goodbye to Sasha with her kind of going back in her thoughts to Abraham and sort of building up to that.
Yeah, staring at the sunset with Maggie, which was it's like, oh hey, look, obvious visual metaphor. Hey guys, obvious visual metaphor in case you don't get it. It's like thank you, show writers. That part really wasn't necessary. Actually, I really didn't think it was necessary, just because like we can tell she's dying. That's what the cold opening was for, to show us that that's what's happening right now.
I liked the song that she was listening to.
I didn't really pay attention to those, to be honest. Like they fit. Like for the sound, I just wasn't really thinking about them or focusing at all. Go on.
Well, I remember it was sort of spiritual about freedom. So I kind of thought that was cool. But yeah, the whole sunset thing, that was overkill. And
like, yes,
I felt like it might have spent too much time in that that sort of going back in memory with Abraham and everything.
Even though I think overall that was done okay, because the episode especially after that was pretty tight. So
I just I knew that they were trying to hit you with like an emotional punch when she came out of the coffin, and that's kind of how why they started it that way.
Hmm.
But like you said, you knew that was going to happen.
And there's also
So
the other problem where Sasha wasn't really like enough of a like a
never
character
like
with enough. Hmm?
right. She was never there was never like an emotional enough connection
Yeah,
with her.
she didn't carry a lot of weight. She didn't have a lot of presence. She was there and she was likable, but she
Yeah,
wasn't
I
like,
mean, she was a good character. She just wasn't like, a Glenn
yeah,
or,
heck, even Abraham.
or even Abraham. Yeah, I mean, Abraham, he was unique.
Hmm.
Um, he had his Abrahamisms and stuff that were funny.
Yeah.
And as a character, it was just more emotional to lose them than to lose Sasha.
Hmm. And that's kind of unfortunate because you can tell that I think that the crew and the cast were probably pretty fond of the character of Sasha, given they spent
Yeah,
so much time trying to give her a decent goodbye. And it's just like, yeah, you didn't really make that work though. I mean, like they did well enough. It's just, eh.
yeah.
If there
It's
was
just,
just,
it's almost like the episode with Rick and Michonne where you know they waited too long to try and make that connection.
mm-hmm,
It felt that way with Sasha. Like they waited too long to try and make you feel emotionally invested in Sasha.
yeah,
So it's not that, it wasn't well done. It was just, you know,
yeah.
it was more for them.
It's kind of a down. That is one of the downsides, though, of the show having such a large cast. Though, is that they have to make decisions regarding who gets what focus on who. And
Yeah.
I don't really blame them for having a large cast or anything. It's just it's inevitable that you're going to occasionally have these moments where your audience can't quite connect with what you want them to connect with.
Right.
And that just is what it
I
is.
feel a better emotional connection between Rick and Michonne back when he was still carrying the phone around, you
Mm,
know? I
yes.
mean, because, they had that moment where she was like, hey, man, I understand, sometimes you have to talk to people who aren't there. Um,
I do that all
and
the time.
I mean, yeah, I felt like they connected then, and I really did feel like they had a very strong friendship after that, and they
Hmm.
relied on each other. But yeah, because of the size of the cast and the pacing of the show, as a romantic couple, they never quite
Yeah.
explored that until they just hit you with that episode where it's like, bam,
Yeah, that is
they
like that's like, oh, that escalated quickly.
well then.
It's like I
So
didn't know this was really a thing that was going to happen, but okay.
uh,
I don't know, because there are ways to do that well too, and even like kind of cliche ways to just do that well, just to kind of build up to it and make it look like, hey, this is a thing that could happen, and that gets you invested in it, and and so forth. But I never did that with
yeah,
Rick and Michonne, unfortunately. That's a shame.
you know.
Now, Glenn and Maggie, on the other hand, they did very well.
But Glenn and Maggie have been, or they were a couple for so long. Um, I'm starting to wonder, like, do the writers and producers, do they actually understand romance? Because besides Glenn and Maggie, there hasn't really been another romantic sort of interest that is believable.
The writing staff has kind of changed, right, since season two. So
But I mean, even how that started, it was just like, yeah, so you wanna, they're in the middle of like a pharmacy,
hmm.
and Glenn's like,
Though at least in its own sort of way, it was kind of believable because, well, Glenn is not because it's like at least Glenn had the
yeah,
kind of character for that.
never gonna take charge like that, and Maggie did, and then he was just like besotted with her after that.
Hmm.
That was actually pretty funny. You know, because Glenn was and continued to be the whole time like a really good dude. He was just a good guy.
Yeah. All right.
So anyhow, we're going way back.
And today on the Wayback Machine. Wait. Not not on. In. You don't ride on the way. Okay, everyone. For safety's sake, do not ride on the Wayback Machine. You may get thrown off into the time stream, and we may never be able to recover you because who knows what year you'll end up in. So make sure you're riding in the Wayback Machine when you travel way back into the past.
Or you could like just totally ignore the last minute and a half, and we could continue talking about the finale.
I could give you a middle finger right now, but I won't. That was an important public safety announcement. I don't like how you just completely stripped it of any of its urgency.
You're special.
At least my name's not Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Speaking of mental illness.
Yes. Anyway, back to the Walking Dead finale, not season 2.
Wayback Machines are real, and you should be safe.